Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a motion to approve today's agenda.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? The agenda has been approved. We're going to open the floor to public comments. Members wishing to make comments must state their name and address, and their comments are only limited to what this meeting is about. Are there any public comments? Seeing no public comments, I'm going to close the floor to public comments. We're going to move on to new business. We're going to have a discussion with Commissioner Bertino. And is Commissioner Bunting there also?
Yes.
Yes, on the wastewater issue that is presented itself in Worcester County. I'm going to turn the floor over to Commissioner Bertino.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us the time to talk with you about an issue of considerable importance to all of us in the Ocean Pines wastewater service area. As you are aware, during the most recent commissioners meeting on Tuesday, a fiscal year 26 budget draft was put forward for the water wastewater enterprise funds. The timing of this presentation was to conform to the necessary advertising timeline in advance of the public hearing on the county's fiscal 26 budget hearing set for May 6th. It's very important to understand that what was presented Tuesday was a draft document, a conversation starter. Nonetheless, the information included in the draft, as well as the intentions behind what is included in the draft, raised considerable concern that ratepayers in the Ocean Pines service area will be expected to pay more than our fair share, that we will shoulder debts and shortfalls incurred by some of the other 10 service areas in the county. I raised the concerns during Tuesday's public meeting, and I am thankful for the opportunity to talk with you and by extension, our Ocean Pines community here today. It is my objective that this will be the first of additional opportunities for our community to learn more about this issue and discuss its ramifications on each of us. What follows is a quick overview of how we arrived at this point in time. Please understand that this is a fluid, changing, and very complicated issue with a lot of moving variables that individually and collectively have had an impact on the overall situation to date, and that will shape the process moving forward. The mistakes of the past and present and future decisions have and will impact individual ratepayers. First, it should be understood that there are 11 water wastewater service areas within Worcester County. Each service area operates as an enterprise fund, meaning that it should be self-sustaining, and in short, income should equal expenses. Income is derived from rates paid by users and should be commensurate with the expenses to operate that service area. The Ocean Pines service area includes the following: our community of Ocean Pines for water and sewer, Pennington Commons for water and sewer, Bay Point Plantation for sewer, Pines Plaza for water and sewer, Turville Creek 589, Gum Point Road for sewer, St. Martin's Dolly Circle is planned for water and sewer, although neither has been constructed, Ocean Downs for sewer, and Crabs to Go for sewer. Other water-only areas include River Run and Refuge at Windmill Creek. In February of last year, our budget officer and deputy chief administrative officer were implementing new budgeting procedures. It was during this transition with the finance office that they became aware of financial inconsistencies within the enterprise fund operations. Between that time and September, they delved into the situation more and realized that the enterprise funds as a whole would soon run out of money. They learned, too, that contrary to the county financial protocols, the financial department was not bringing to anyone's attention accumulated deficits and that budget transfers were being made on paper from reserves that did not exist in individual areas. It was at this time the scope and gravity of the situation was brought to the attention of the commissioners. To avoid a financial crisis within the service areas and to provide financial breathing room to develop a plan moving forward, the commissioners approved a transfer of about $9 million from the general fund to the enterprise funds. Of this $9 million, $2.7 million was designated as a grant to the Riddle Farm service area. The reasons for this we can discuss in a few moments. The remaining $6.3 million was designated as a loan with interest, with an interest rate of about 5%, that would be required to be paid back to the general fund over a period of 10 years, beginning in fiscal 27. Please note, of the $9 million transfer to stabilize the enterprise funds for accrued operations and maintenance shortfalls of individual service areas, the Ocean Pines service area was not a part. In short, Ocean Pines service area did not contribute at all to the accrued losses and shortcomings. Let's take a moment for that to sink in. For fiscal 26, it is projected that there will be a $2.1 million overall loss within the combined service areas. Of this amount, Ocean Pines' share is $116,699. During the February 18th Commissioner meeting, a motion was made by Commissioner Fiore, whose service areas are most impacted by financial shortfalls, to create a water wastewater discussion group that would include appropriate staff and 3 commissioners, Commissioners Elder, Fiore, and Matresic, to develop options to address the situation. Despite Ocean Pines being the largest service area with about 10,000 users of the 18,000 users countywide, the motion excluded both Commissioner Bunting and me from being a member. Following my objection and Commissioner Bunting talking with Commissioner Matresic, Commissioner Matresic recognized that his district of Ocean City is not within any of these service areas and therefore yielded his position to me. Shortly thereafter, upon reflection, I emailed the commissioners requesting that because Commissioner Bunting was much more qualified in this area, he should sit in on the group, not me, and the commissioners agreed. The discussion group met 3 times and a majority voted to present the plan that came before the commissioners on Tuesday. So let's go back to the $2.1 million projected shortfall, overall shortfalls in the FY26 budget. As I mentioned, Ocean Pines' share of this shortfall is about $117,000, equating to roughly between $1 and $3 of our quarterly bills. For those doing quick math, it's not a quick answer to divide 117,000 by 10,000 users because there are other variables that enter into the final amount. So for the purposes of this discussion, the range of between $1 and $3 is used to determine what we should be responsible for. Despite our relatively small debt, under the plan presented Tuesday, Ocean Pines ratepayers would see a $32 increase in their quarterly bills to pay for the accumulated deficit, 10 times more than what is our responsibility. This amount would more or less remain forevermore on our bills. That's just for this year's identified $2.1 million shortfall. Waiting in the distance is the $6.3 million loan that needs to be paid back to the general fund beginning in FY27. So if the plan presented Tuesday requiring Ocean Pines to shoulder the shortfall debt of other service areas passes in the final budget, it's very likely the same model will be used for the $6.3 million loan plus interest repayment over the next 10 years. Doing simple math, and I want to reiterate that nothing about this situation is simple. Our rates in Ocean Pines will increase about $9 per quarter per ratepayer for the repayment of this loan over 10 years, and that equates to $3.6 million collectively that we weren't responsible for to begin with. Another wrinkle in the Ocean Pines service area budget is the fact that we are currently accepting waste from the Riddle Farm service area, for which we are compensated about $532,000 annually. The Riddle Farm plant is expected to be back online in December, thus eliminating the pump and haul expenses to that service area and the revenue our service area has been receiving for many years. It's very likely that all or a portion of that lost revenue will need to be made up by our service area. And a quick calculation, and I reiterate again that nothing related to water, wastewater is quick or easy. Our bills will likely include about a $13 quarterly increase. I recognize that this is a lot of information to absorb and understand. Commissioner Bunning and I share your pain. What I've shared is just a sliver of the overall issue. But to sum up, those of us in Ocean Pines service area have a responsibility to pay for the operation and maintenance and capital improvements of the facility that provides us clean water and processes our effluent. Ocean Pines ratepayers do not have a responsibility, nor should we be expected to shoulder the cost of other service areas that through the years were not financially managed properly by county government. The plan put forward Tuesday as a draft, an option that will be discussed and deliberated upon by the commissioners, is possible to change, that other options will be brought to the table. But this is the only plan before us today, and it is not in the best interests of Ocean Pines. There will be a hearing on May 6th for the purpose for the public to express their thoughts and concerns about this issue. I need your help. We need your help to ensure that Ocean Pines service area is not sacrificed on the altar of political expediency. I mentioned that I want this to be the first of multiple community conversations. To that end, Commissioner Bunning and I will be hosting a town meeting within the month to discuss this issue further, so please stay tuned for details. At this time, we're happy to address your concerns and answer to the best of our ability any questions you may have. So if you all got that, there will be a test on this in a few minutes. I hope that at least gives you a broad outline of where we are. This is a lousy situation. And if any of you had the opportunity to watch our meeting on Tuesday, I think you can certainly see that as we were talking earlier, I think they wanted to judge, there was a desire just to move along and that we weren't going to make an issue of it. Well, an issue was made of it and an issue needs to be made of it. So I hope that's helpful.
First, I want to thank both of you for coming out because it is a very serious issue. One of the things, and I know with the numbers,
yeah,
I'm kind of trying to follow it here. If everything that is being proposed, in addition to when the Glenn Riddle will no longer be funding us in some ways, what is the total that could be worst case scenario?
For our bills,
is that the 32, the 9 plus the additional 15?
It is. If we are required to pay the shoulder responsibility of this other service areas, yes, you would all add all those together.
Okay.
If we are just held accountable for what is our responsibility, the $1 to $3 plus the $13, $14 for the Glenn Riddle backfill, it will be ours.
So we're looking at maybe, which is not unreasonable.
Well, if it's ours, we should pay for it. Just as every other service area should pay for their responsibility.
Yeah. So we're looking at maybe 17 versus maybe $55.
Maybe possibly.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a huge amount for us to be paying back somebody else's debt.
Excuse me.
Oh.
Excuse me, Chip. Quick question. Do we have any legal recourse and have you pursued this?
Thank you for the question. At this point, nothing has been decided, so there's really no legal avenue to be pursued at this point because the commissioners have done nothing. We have not taken any action. All we have done at this point is that we've accepted an option for consideration. So at this point, I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, a timeline of things we need to be aware of so that if we need to take legal steps, if there's other things, we need your advice and your opinion on how do we help you succeed in getting a lot of this overturned.
I think the most important thing between now and the public hearing on May 6th is to get the word out to all of our ratepayers in our communities. Commissioner Bunny and I will be hosting a town meeting. That's one. We will have county staff there to answer questions. That's one thing. I think that you have an excellent PR person. Ginning up some press releases to get out would be tremendously helpful. Any other avenues that this community can employ to get the word out would be good. If you watched the meeting the other day, I tried very hard to get information out to the rate holders, all the rate holders, not just this one, and it was denied for reasons that I can't explain. Ultimately, we were able to at least get information, document put onto the county website to provide information to the rate holders, and with the information of how we got to this point, what the costs are, what are each service area's responsibility to the shortcomings has been over the years and what it is now. All that needs to be visible and transparent to the public. And the motion was to have that done within the next week or two. In speaking with Candace Savage this morning, our Deputy Chief Administrative Officer, she has told staff that are putting this together in the finance office that it will be ready at the commissioner's next meeting, which is April 1st. So that will be a link. I would ask if it's possible, if you all could put that information linked on our OPA website, if that's possible. The more information we can get out, there's where we are right now, getting information out.
Commissioner, I did listen to the meeting the other day, and what I thought I heard was a question I believe your Commissioner Bunning had asked a question to the controller, the gentleman that was presenting, was the practice that is occurring or what is proposed to be presented. Is that done in other areas, other jurisdictions? And what I thought I heard was there was possibility that maybe Frederick County may have used it in Washington County. So I guess my question is this a new practice, the whole practice of kind of moving it and putting everybody in the.
Well, no decision's been made by the commissioners to even consolidate. There is a push by some commissioners to move in that direction, but we've never had that discussion. And in fact, and you can speak this better than I can, we really can't do it. No, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, we have.
I thought I heard.
Yeah, and now there are ways that it could be done, I'm sure. I want to get back to something else because you just triggered a thought. This $6.3 million loan that needs to be paid back, county code requires that the debt of each service area be serviced by that individual, the debt be serviced by that individual service area. Meaning that by county code right now, we shouldn't be paying for another district's shortcomings. That's in county code. So what was presented the other day is contrary to what our current code is. Having said that, as so many other things in life in this county revolve around, the commissioners can make a decision and change county code to tweak it so that could be the case. But as it stands right now, the option was put forward was contrary to county code.
That's what I believe I heard.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Chip, thank you again for being here. You use the term should be treated as enterprise districts, and you just said the opposite right here is it's county code. They're obligated to operate by county code, so it's no should be, it must be.
I thought he was just talking about the definition of an enterprise.
Okay, I mean, if they go against that, that's against the law.
Yes.
It's completely against the law.
But they haven't gone.
Excuse me, Chip, I
haven't done
wanna,
anything yet.
See, that's just it. We haven't done anything.
I mean, I know I watched your the meeting. I was just blown away by Commissioner Elder's stance on, he doesn't think this is a big deal at all, wants to brush it under the table. It's unbelievable. Especially even the Quinn who presented the thing didn't seem very knowledgeable on it. And I have one big question. With this gross financial mismanagement that took place in the Treasury's office, who got fired?
Nobody. And I'll tell you why.
That's exactly my question too. What is being done
Well,
to make sure this doesn't happen?
Well, I'd be happy to answer that question. When this came to light in September, and the commissioners became aware of it, Commissioner Bunny and I moved very quickly to ensure that this information was delved into, and we wanted to shine the brightest light possible on this. And we wanted to hold accountable the people that were responsible for this. It was over a long time, longer than either one of us has been a commissioner.
Yeah.
The policies and procedures were not followed. Transfers were supposed to be brought to the county commissioners in real time, not, after the fact. None of that happened, and we didn't know about it. A majority of the commissioners right now are unwilling to move forward with holding people accountable. Is that a fair statement?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
so how long has this $9.2 million or $6.3 million deficit been going on?
Multiple years. It's been accruing for years. I don't have an exact time, Stuart, but it's longer than I've been a commissioner, and that's 11 years.
And so they want to correct this in one fiscal year's budget and take a loan for the next 10 years to fix it?
Well, that's just to fix. Yeah, that's to fix the shortcomings over those many years. Yes.
All right.
If I can, a couple of questions. I'm assuming the data that will be presented on the website that you're waiting on before your next meeting will include a breakdown of each water district paying funds out of the enterprise. What do we call it? The enterprise fund that was set up. In other words, however they're identified, but water district 1 got X amount, water district 2 got X
Yes.
amount. So we actually will know how much is owed by each water district, and therefore their ratepayers to repay that fund.
That's the objective.
That's the data you're waiting for.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The other question I have is, what I'm trying to grasp here is, if you move to a single water district, which is, as I understand, part of the proposal that you first heard about, that in effect removes the provision you were just talking about, how each water district must pay their real cost, cover all their expenses. Because a single water district, we're all required to cover the expenses.
That is correct. In the most general, broadest sense of that plan, yes.
Okay.
But there are a couple of inconsistencies with your question, and no fault of your own.
No.
One is that we have not at all discussed combining the service areas. Secondly, to do something like that would require a major lift. And further, the cost of operation for each of the service plans is different because of the number of users, the type of plant that it is, et cetera. So it's not an easy fix of just combining everything and then dividing by the number of users. At least it should not be.
Right, but I'm assuming that the proposal that you described at the outset,
Yeah.
if you create a single entity, that regardless of what physically must be done, or as a bookkeeping function must be done, you've created the umbrella which brings everybody in underneath
That's it. Yeah. Under that scenario, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to just
Yes.
throw something out, because one of the things after I saw the meeting and some of the comments is Ocean Pines really isn't the problem. It's these 10 other district areas where all this, not all,
Yeah,
but
Some worse than others.
yeah. The most Ocean City's in good shape.
yeah. And when you
No, it's not.
look at the
Oh,
numbers,
can I say that one?
Well, because they robbed it.
Oh, well, they robbed it, yeah, well, yeah.
but when you look at the overall numbers, so that, I kind of just tried to look at the math equation. There's 35 approximately households in the county, but then you take out all of the townships that aren't part of this enterprise fund, and it's about 18,000. We're about half of that. And we can pretty much handle what we have to do in our own service district area. And I guess what I would like to see and hear what your thoughts would be is that if they're going to try to consolidate some, take those other 10 that are having those issues, put them together, because I know that there was some discussion about a small town like Newark having issues or whatever. But let Ocean Pines be its own and put the other 10 together. I don't know if you can do that. But
Yeah, go ahead.
Just far as the talking about consolidation, I'm against any consolidation because it's too difficult to do because there is 11 districts. And as stated by Commissioner Bertino, some of them are sewer, some of them are water, some of them are sewer and water. The one district is up in Delaware, and we really have nothing to do with it because the water comes from Delaware Company, and we have a plant built, but we put it in their lines. So you can't. There's districts cannot be consolidated,
gotcha.
and I don't think they should be. And just as a history, the last meeting we had, I had different information in front of me, which I have right here, which numbers did not correspond that came out Tuesday. And what was supposed to be coming out was something was only agreed upon because there was a push to even proceed with at the same time doing a consolidation of districts. And I was able to convince them to take that off the agenda for this year. And then not on the budget, because personally, I don't think it ever worked. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, a question. So it just getting me thinking. So water, and we're talking water, wastewater here today. Are there other categories of expenses for the county that are treated the same way with 11 districts?
We have other enterprise funds like our recycling.
Yes.
And that sort of thing.
How are they handled in those 11 service areas?
That's a whole different.
I guess where I'm going with it is, as I shared with you earlier, Chip, is this whole precedent that the thing sets, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of, here's waste and water. Hey, well, why not do something else? Next thing you know, this thing gets worse. We're all dead and gone. And, for stuff on Joe's Farm, talking about those guys 25 years ago, right? But, where I'm going with it is that just the precedent is kind of like, hey, if it works here, let's just keep doing it, right? And the next thing you know, Ocean Pines is the bank. Right?
Well, and that's this is the camel's nose under the tent. And I think that we need to be real careful of what precedent could be set.
That's absolutely.
And you're exactly right. We have got to be careful. And we're an easy target. Ocean Pines is an easy target because we are managed well. We have a community that is very much the envy of a lot of different people. And we're an easy target. And, you're just rich. You can just handle all of it, and so we are needed, and we have to protect ourselves. I believe that very strongly.
I also think too that everybody realizes our systems are top notch compared to some of the others.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully part of this discussion will be as future development it comes in and we're having to put in new systems that we have a higher level of expectation for these developers in what kinds of things that they will be bringing in when they want to put up a new community.
Yeah.
This is kind of water under the bridge at this point. There's so much that can be done, but we also need to think about the future and how that's going to be handled as well, so that another 20 or 30 years from now, there's not a group of people sitting here trying to figure out the same problem.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But we have a 160 or 180 unit community going in over by on Route 50 there. That's proposed. Listen, Chip, what's our action plan? What's our next move?
Get the word out to the community, Stuart. Just get the word out. We need to have our people, well, anybody in the service area, but since we're responsible for Ocean Pines, everybody within the Ocean Pines service area needs to be informed. They need to understand so that they can articulate their concerns. They should come out to the public hearing. They should write letters, emails. We need to educate our people. That's what we need to do because knowledge is power. And right now, as you saw from Tuesday's meeting, there was a push to keep everybody in the dark. And that's wrong. So, and Ocean Pines is nothing. It's certainly not a shy community. So let's project what we can do. I mean, we are a very engaged community. Jimmy and I, Commissioner Bunning and I cannot do it ourselves. We need help. So let's get the word out. That's what we can do right now. Now, once a decision is made, whatever that decision may be made or whatever plan may be made, then maybe as a community, we need to look at other options you were talking about earlier, Stuart. But at this point, we just need to get information out. And we'll be holding a town meeting, and I hope you guys would be a part of it.
What, if I could just say, what's the timetable beyond May 6th for the budget adoption?
Budget adoption is June. It goes into effect July 1st.
Okay, so
So I think the beginning of June is, the first meeting in June is when we approve it.
So it's quickly after that.
Oh, it's very quick. Oh, this thing's moving down the line.
Yeah.
And quite truthfully, if Commissioner Bunning had been on that subcommittee, we'd be talking about something totally different that would have been more encompassing and worse for Ocean Pines.
And the budget that's being proposed, has there been a budget proposal?
Yes, it was, yeah,
Right, so that budget that's being proposed,
it's online. That is online.
and that incorporates the rate increases for all of Ocean Pines
Yeah.
that relate to this $9 million issue.
No, not the 9 million, because that's not until next
Well,
year.
the two.
Yeah, 2.1, yes, that's
one.
correct.
The piece of the 9 that's
Yeah,
this
exactly.
And has there been any outside audit of this financial problem? Or any discussion of an outside?
So soon as we find out about it, the commissioners of the group took the authority away from a certain person to do this transferring of money.
Okay.
And nothing can be transferred without it being brought to us.
But it's the county finance office that's doing kind of the background investigation, and then it's going to put that on paper for the April 1st meeting, or they've already done it, I guess. Right, correct?
A majority of the commissioners is not interested in holding accountable what has happened in the past.
So a majority would not be interested in outside audit.
At least right now. Well, it hasn't even come back to us for discussion.
I have a question too on the upcoming, the 2 million, 2.2, whatever. And I could be wrong, but watching the meeting, it seemed to me that it was equally being put out among all the districts so that we may be paying more to service debt that could be happening in other districts versus ourselves. So
Right.
rather than looking at each district individually and saying, well, Ocean Pines should only go up X number, this one should go up this number. that should-
There was this flat number across the board.
Exactly. So we could be overpaying, quite frankly, this upcoming budget year while all this gets sorted out.
Well, just as an
Yes.
example, we already know that Ocean Pines has a shortfall of 1,118,044.
116,000.
Yeah, 116,999. But I was going to point out, Riddle Farm is a little over $1 million. No, we already know what the shortfalls in each district and where it's coming from.
But that's,
And West Ocean City has a surplus of 135,000, and prior to this, we found out what was going on. It was really good shape. Now it's not. It's down to 135. Landings is 387,000 shortfall. Almost every one of them had a shortfall except for Red Line, West Ocean City.
But I guess the
And like
question
I was
is,
saying,
are we equally taking on that burden of everybody
Well,
pluses and minuses, at least for this upcoming year?
if,
If what is proposed passes, so I think it's like $32. Everybody's paying a surcharge of $32, but ours should only be $1 to $3.
Correct. So for right now, even temporarily, we're paying more than we really.
So at this point, we're not paying any tax.
Once it, if it
Once
gets passed.
once it gets passed, yeah. I want to be clear about that.
Yeah. It's a couple different pieces. Yeah.
You indicated that your colleagues have no interest in an, as I understood it, an external audit of any type. Has there been an internal audit by the county?
There has been,
Commissioner staff is jointly looking at the numbers that comes from the finance department.
Okay, so they discovered something and that's as far as it's gone. Is that a fair description?
I would say that that's a fair description.
Okay. This sounds somewhat like a neighbor who takes out a loan to do a major redo of their home and then goes walking down the street asking everybody else to help him pay off the loan.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm going to pay my neighbors.
That's what this sounds like.
Yeah.
That's good.
Or you could say that Commissioner Elder's solution is a solution to this financial pollution is dilution.
So it sounded like when I listened that there was not one commissioner other than both of you that had any interest in kind of negotiating any kind of like, it was, hey, we're just gonna, everybody just raise your hand, kind of move this thing down. So, I'm sure our community's gonna do everything we can, but if you don't have any support as two commissioners, we're dead in the water.
Well,
And what is?
it takes, well, I should be clear that Commissioner, Abbott from Pocomoke, understood, the issue at hand. I mean, she was, in fact, she voted, when we wanted to get information out, she voted with us. Okay.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is that hopefully we don't have a group of commissioners that think the most expedient thing to do is, make Ocean Ponds equally pay for this stuff because they can.
That's exactly how that be.
Fair thing.
That's exactly how that.
But it's an expedient thing.
But the commissioners, all the commissioners are business people. And as business people, they do business in Ocean Ponds. We have a consumer base of at least 12,000 people.
Right.
So, we, as business people, they recognize the influence that this community would have
Right.
on the business community.
I'm just afraid they think it's going to be, hey, listen, we've got the votes, we're going
But it could very
to
well,
blame this thing through.
it could be,
We don't really care.
it could be the riverboat in Snow Hill from a couple of years ago. It could be the sports complex that was trying, yeah. The answer to that question is yes. It could
Do you
be.
want to recognize Monica? She has a question.
Hi, thanks, Stu. Back to the financial department. So we know of this one thing. And if really only the commissioners are looking at the financials once they get them, we still don't know if there are other things that are running amok with the financials in the county. I just cannot see how at least an internal audit wouldn't be required. That would be one point I'd want to get out in the public. Our county just did this. We're getting stuck with it, and who knows what else is going on.
Well, I want to, Monica, thank you. And I share your concerns. A couple of things I want to make clear. That our budget officer, who is not in the finance department, our budget officer, as well as our chief administrative officer, both have been on this like white on rice since last February. They have are scrutinizing everything that is going on and have been a lot more involved. I am very confident that they have gone through and to ensure that the enterprise funds are isolated, because they were always handled differently than the general fund budget. They were just handled differently. And it was when we were redoing these budgeting policies is when the issues arose. So I am very confident in our budget officer as well as our chief administrative officer's oversight as to what's going on. And they have not presented anything additional than this issue that that we've discussed here today. So I'm very confident in their review of everything. That does not negate. I don't disagree with you that I think an internal audit of our procedures would not be a bad thing, and it would only help us in the long run.
Absolutely. Well, thank you.
I guess I'm thinking at this point, you want to take sort of our lead from you all, what we can do. I know it's getting the word out. What are the salient points? If we could just get, I guess, from you those points that in an understandable way so that we can give this out to our community, because it has to be simple and clear.
Keep it simple, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that once we get this document from that we're waiting for to put on the website, that'll provide the information that we're looking for. What I believe is necessary for this to be successful is that we all are dealing from the same page of information. The last thing we want is a lot of information from different sources going out. So I would, as I'm sitting here now, I would say that we get the document from the county that defines everything that we're looking for, and we use that as the basis of getting the information out.
That will be the basis of the discussion at our meeting.
Yes, right. That's town meeting.
So we'll continue to circle
We
back
have
with
copies
what,
of everything.
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because we do want to be on the same page.
We have to be, Elaine.
Yeah.
We have to be,
Yeah.
because quite truthfully, this is confusing enough.
Mhm.
If the genesis of the information we're putting out is in any way very skewed or whatever, confusing, it's only going to muddy the waters even more than they already are.
You're correct. Yeah. Yeah, at some point, if it's, everybody's going in different directions, nobody's listening.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I hope I've made your day and we've answered your questions. All of you know how to get in touch with either Jimmy or me. We're at your service. The town meeting will be in April. We're working through the dates and ensuring that the appropriate staff are there to address the concerns that the community will have. If we can coordinate with you, I'm looking at you're already doing it. Well, great, thanks.
So that's in our house or your house?
What's that?
Town hall.
The town hall was ours,
Okay.
but you can have town halls too.
Oh, yeah, well, no, I don't know what I mean. You were coming here to Ocean Pond.
No, we'll have it at the library. Have it at the library, like I have all my town meetings.
Okay, perfect.
So we'll do it there. And information, just get the information. Talk to your people, talk to anybody, talk to your club. We all belong to clubs. Talk to them.
We have a board meeting next Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Would you all like to be put on the agenda to talk there? I mean, some folks are on this meeting, but different folks may be tuning in for the board
Can we
meeting.
reiterate what I said here today? What day is it?
Saturday,
Saturday.
What time?
9 o'clock,
29.
29th at 9 o'clock. Okay. If we're able to, can we be at the top of the agenda?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'll
Right after the pledge, if you.
look at my calendar.
I'll check.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I can, I'll be.
Okay, great.
If you want to just give, a smaller version, more concise, that's fine too. But I think the more people were able to.
Bless you.
He's the.
You're just his backup.
He's the first base.
Yeah, right. The 29th at 9?
Yes.
Okay. I'll put it on my calendar. I'll be there.
Okay.
it's at the clubhouse. At the
At
clubhouse.
the clubhouse. Okay. It may
Well,
be.
listen, my connection froze. I had to change to my phone. Is there anything else that Commissioner Bunting or Commissioner Bertino want to add to today that for our action plan here?
I don't have anything.
Well, I want to thank both of you guys for coming out here. This is a very important issue for everybody that uses water. It's all of us. And I wanted to thank you both for your consistent advocacy for our community.
We're all in this together, Stuart.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Just public comment.
Yes, you
Yes.
have public comments. Nobody had them, so you hit the seven.
I have, if I could be allowed.
Sure.
If nobody has anything more to discuss, I want to.
Actually, we do.
Oh, we do. I'm sorry. I can't hear. I'm having a difficult time with the connection.
I mean, I don't think, do any of us have a problem?
No,
with it?
No, we can.
We have one request for public comment, even though it's out of order. Is that okay?
Yeah, that I'll permit it. Let the public comment be heard. Please state your name and address.
Thank you. Bill Reynolds, 84 Watertown Road. I think there's a broader issue here that wasn't discussed today that may be eventually more important than the one you're discussing now. And that is the expansion of the plant and new developments coming into the plant and what they pay to get into the plant. Stuart very mentioned a development on the other side of 50. What you may not know, Stuart, is that the county commissioners meeting the other day, there's a 180 townhouse development going in that abuts Ocean Pines subdivision at the traffic light near at the AGH new building on 589. That's 180. They also discussed what they call the 589 development zone or something like that. There's extensive amounts of connections coming into our system. The importance here is what these people, the developers, pay to get into the system. And it's especially important because the plant is not going to be expanded with new development to handle these people. The ratepayers in the service area today have already footed the bill to provide perhaps 1 million gallons in excess of what was needed for themselves. And these developers should not be allowed to come into the system at a relatively cheap EDU or whatever the charge involved is. They should be paying, reimburse the people who already provided that facility. And I've urged, and I urge again, I believe Mr. Bright should be involved immediately in looking into these issues, not necessarily filing any papers, but this stuff requires a lot of work, a lot of background work. Mm-hmm. And I would suggest the board allow Mr. Bright to hire whatever experts he needs, look into what developers should be paying so that we have all the information in advance of the county approving some low rate for these people to get into the system. There's also the issue of what we've been paid, for example, by Riddle Farm service area to provide their sewage. The commissioners, God bless them, they don't have a clue whether we're being paid properly. Right. They have to take the word of the people who are pushing for one system, and that is primarily, I believe, staff. There's a lot of issues here. I think Mr. Bright could get involved in. Anyway, it's something to discuss. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
You want to answer?
I'm just going to say that so far, the Ocean Pines has been paid for accepting the stuff from the Riddle Farm.
You've been paid, but we don't know if it's correct. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm
That's a 532.
right. Okay. And there's a rezoning, am I correct, required for the 180?
Yeah.
And that, and I know we're not talking about that the issue, but that needs to be on your the property is approved for all commercial uses and a senior citizen type thing. And now that's all going down the drain, and it's going to be 180 townhouses. So that needs to be on your calendar too, to make all regarding, because they have to get that from us.
May I ask a question?
Subsidies.
Yeah.
They already had public.
Go ahead.
I'll allow another public comments. If you state
My
your
name
and
is-
address.
Certainly. My name is Bob Albrecht and I live at 47 Chatham Court here in Ocean Pines. I really have two questions. The first is there like a master mailing list or email list to get this information out to all the residents of Ocean Pines?
We have something.
Okay. And is that going to be done or is,
Oh, we're putting together the plan right now, but there'll be something.
okay, so it's looking like that'll
Along
be
those
done.
lines.
All right. And I actually forgot my second question, but it had to do, I remember it now, it had to do with if the county is violating their own charter by going down this direction, is there any way to put something in front of them saying, you can't do this and here's why, and we object to it prior to them trying to do this?
Well, them and the county are the same people,
Okay.
of which Commissioner Bundy and I are a part. What has been put forward right now is a plan. It is not an action. We didn't execute an action. At that time, then addressing the violation of county code would have to be addressed.
Are you planning on doing that?
Oh, I assure you that if this plan continues to move forward, yes, that would be.
That's Bruce here.
Well, regardless of Bruce, I mean, it has to be because it would be inconsistent with county code.
Sure.
But at this point, we don't know what the plan, all we're dealing with is the plan that was put forward. 2 months from now, after the public hearing, this plan might be thrown in the wastebasket and there'd be something else that is more favorable, palatable for us. So, but those inconsistencies, that violation of county code would have to be addressed before this plan can go into effect, as it is right now.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I think I can help answer some of that because this had been a very quick kind of fluid thing and just trying to figure out where it's going. It's still, there's not concrete information at this point. That's why it was great to have the commissioners come out today to, give us more information. But behind the scenes, we have been on this trying to look. We've already been talking with operations about a marketing plan, getting that information out. How do we reach? It's not one thing. We'll have it on signs. We're going to get ads. We're going to do all sorts of things because we need to get the troops out. We need to make the county understand we are not just going to sit back and be quiet. We're going to make sure we're treated fairly. And that's what we're here for at this table. So it's moving forward, we will just keep trying to catch up. It's, while we have a little bit of time, it's, we need to be on top of it at every single stage. And I will let you know our board will be. So,
Thank you for allowing the question.
Oh, you're welcome.
I think we're done.
Okay, then, if we're through and there's no more discussion, I'm going to move to adjourn our meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
So moved. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, commissioners, for coming. This is very
Thank you.
important for all of us.
Yes.
And I
Thanks for the
appreciate-
opportunity.
appreciate it.